everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited about the topic of this video because I just got back from my first trip to Disney World as a mom, and I am sharing what I learned about traveling to Disney World with an infant.
I'm Christina. I'm a traveler, a planner, and most importantly, a mom. I'm sharing my best tips to make traveling as a family a little less stressful. So put down your phone, pack your bags, and let's showcase the world.
For most of my adult life, maybe even before my adult life, I dreamed about bringing my children to Disney World. It is something that was so important to me. Obviously, Disney is important to me, so it was so fun to be able to bring my daughter to Walt Disney World with my whole family. There were about 14 of us, so it was so much fun. We went for her first birthday. Well, we went a little bit before her first birthday because her first birthday was December 20th, and that's a little too close to the holidays and the busy holiday crowds for me, so we went the beginning of December to celebrate her first birthday, and she absolutely adored it. And there's something so special about seeing the joy in your children's eyes. Everyone talks about it, but it's just so different to actually experience it. I know a lot of people want to wait until their kid's the perfect age, that they'll appreciate it, or think that I'm crazy for bringing a baby that young. It was worth every moment, every penny, everything. She had so much fun watching the parade, riding It's a Small World, meeting Mickey Mouse. She went right up to him and gave him a big kiss on the nose. So they were just moments for me that just were absolutely perfect, and she might not remember it. We made a lovely book, lovely Shutterfly book for her so that she'll be able to look back on it, but I will always remember it, and that's what's important. It's not waiting till your kids remember it, it's for you too. So I don't think that there is a right or a wrong age to bring children to Disney. I always think the sooner the better. If it's a first trip, under 3 is always great because under 3 is free. If it's a once in a lifetime trip, yeah, maybe you want to wait until they're old enough to ride a lot of the attractions, but by the time they're old enough and tall enough, they lose a little bit of the magic. So you want to make sure you get that balance of magic and height right. I'm very fortunate that I know that this is not going to be the last time Annabelle's going to Disney World. We're starting to plan our next trip already. So all that being said, I just went off on a complete tangent. What I learned about traveling with an infant, the good stuff, the stuff you want to know, the stuff you're here for. You want to think about the resort. Before you even book your trip, you want to think about what resort is going to work best for you. And this is based on all sorts of things. You want to think about what park you're going to be spending the most time in. You know, if you just plan on hanging around Epcot, then maybe you want to stay at the beach club because you'll be able to walk. We knew we were going to spend a lot of time at the Magic Kingdom, so we chose the Contemporary Resort so we'd be able to walk back and forth. We weren't going to have to worry about folding up our stroller. If one of those deluxe resorts isn't really in your budget, you want to kind of figure out what is the best combination of convenience and budget. So you might want to consider one of the hotels on the Skyliner. The Skyliner, if you have a single stroller and there's not a ton of people, then you don't have to fold up your stroller, unlike the buses. The buses, you always have to fold up your stroller. Some of the boats, you have to fold up your stroller, but not all of them. So Wilderness Lodge, Fort Wilderness might make sense for you as well. One of the things that was important to us was making sure we had separate sleeping areas. So we wanted to make sure when Annabelle was taking a nap that whoever went back with her didn't have to sit in the dark without any sound on, you know? So we wanted to make sure we had a suite or a 1-bedroom villa on DVC. So we selected the Bay Lake Tower at the Contemporary Resort. It worked perfectly for us. Might not necessarily work for you, but if you want to work through all of your resort options, I'm happy to do that for you. We did talk about strollers and folding up your stroller. Traveling with the stroller was new for us this time. I was really excited about it because I didn't have to carry a heavy backpack. It went in the stroller. So you want to make sure you know your stroller options. You can either bring your own, you can rent from a third-party site and have it delivered to the hotel. You do have to be there to pick it up due to the new rules that Disney put in place. Or you can rent from Disney each day. You don't have it to go back to the hotel though. That I would recommend not necessarily doing unless your kids are a little bit older. If they're spending a ton of time in the stroller, it's not the most comfortable stroller. So you want to make sure that they're able to nap, that they fold back. The Disney ones don't recline at all. So we brought our own. We brought our Kiko Bravo. We use that one to travel all the time. We have an Uppa Baby for home, but it doesn't fold up really small, and it doesn't have as many of the things that just make it really easier to travel, like folds one thing. So we love the Kiko for travel. We gate check it, so we have it in the airport. So we were flying out of Boston during a snowstorm. We didn't know if we were going to get delayed, so having that to walk around the airport was going to be important to us. Even if we weren't flying during a snowstorm, I like to have it when we get to Orlando, because walking all the way down to Magical Express is a hike. And if you have Annabelle wasn't quite walking yet. She was toddling a little bit, taking a few steps, but couldn't really walk on her own, and is pretty heavy to carry that far. So having the stroller was key for us bringing our own. Some other things you want to think about is don't pack your stroller without having a system in place. You do have to unpack everything for security. It has to have nothing in it when it goes through security. So we like to pack clear bags so that they can just look at them quickly and keep everything organized. And we had two bags. We had one hanging off the back and we had one underneath. One of us took the bag that was hanging under. One of us took the bag that was the other bag, and then put the baby through on the side of the detector. One of us went through first so we can meet her on the other side. So you get, by the end of your trip, you'll have it down to a science, but you want to consider what you're putting in your stroller before you get to security, so you don't have to be surprised that you have to unpack it all. When you're thinking about dining, we wanted to make sure we definitely slowed down more for this trip than we typically do. So we planned a little bit more dining than we usually would. And we tried to make sure that they were at times that Annabelle would eat. So it's hard to anticipate 6 months in advance what your child's nap schedules and food schedules are gonna be, but we did a pretty good job of kind of making that her schedule as we moved closer to our trip. So we adapted her a little bit to fit what I thought her schedule would be when I made those reservations. One of the things you want to think about is how much they're eating. We didn't think that she would be eating that much solid food, so I figured we would just pack a ton of pouches and that's how she would eat. But she is a voracious eater. She'll eat anything and wants everything. So we ended up paying out of pocket for a lot of her meals off the kids menu. Again, I thought she would just eat a little bit off my plate. We'd give her a pouch and she'd be fine. So one of the things in hindsight I think I would do would be to book more buffets, because they get their own plate. Even if they eat off your plate, you can have as many plates as you want, or family style, or anything that's all you care to enjoy, so you don't have to pay for a kid's meal that they're not going to eat all of. So definitely something I recommend. We were on the dining plan, so children under 3 cannot be on the dining plan, so it's just something to consider. She absolutely loved the character dining. I didn't book that much character dining because I didn't know if she was going to be a big fan of the characters or not. So we did do a few character meals, and they were her favorite things that we did. She loved eating from the buffet and having characters come around to her, and it was so precious. She gave Mickey a kiss. She played with Snow White for like 5 minutes. It was so sweet. She played nose boops, and I have some really, really sweet pictures from that if you want to check them out. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Showcase the World Travel. That's dining. The other thing you need to make sure you're aware of is when you are coming up with your touring plan or touring schedule is you need to be flexible. You can plan in advance, but you're gonna have to go with whatever they want to do. So just make sure you're being flexible. If they are overstimulated and they need a nap earlier than expected, being able to monitor what they're doing and kind of assess their their mood is really, really important and will definitely help you have a better trip. We did have a later dinner just based on availability. I couldn't get anything early, any earlier, so we were hoping she would fall asleep in the stroller. We'd be able to bring the stroller in, and that was her only meltdown, is when I tried to push her a little bit too far and make her stay up a little bit later. So definitely pay attention to that. If you're in a hotel that was within walking distance, it's super easy to bring them back for a nap. What we did was we would spend the morning nap, we would let her nap in the stroller, and then the afternoon nap we would bring her back to the hotel, and that worked out really, really well for us. If you're traveling with a baby, most likely they're getting up pretty early in the morning, earlier than you'd like to. So use that time to take advantage of the early mornings. If you weren't an early riser before, you weren't doing rope drop, now is your time to be able to do that. You can get into the park, do what you want to do, spend a few hours, which is typically all a kid that age can do anyway. Spend your few hours and get out of the park before it gets crowded. It's perfect. Just take advantage of those early mornings. One thing I wish I had planned more of is downtime in the park. Some of our favorite moments were just letting her run around and, you know, stopping to meet Minnie when we saw her on the side, even though we'd met Minnie 100 times, and being able to just toddle around in quiet areas. I know there's not a ton of quiet areas, but you can find them, you stumble upon them. I wish we'd done a little bit more of that. I think if it had just been our small family, we probably would have, because we've done all the rides 100 times, but we were some people who hadn't been in years and wanted to do a ton. So I overplanned a little too much. I wish I had planned a little less. One thing we did do this trip that I would definitely do again is plan a longer trip with less park time. A lot of clients I work with, they are traveling with younger kids and they think that they only want 1 or 2 days in the parks, so that because they think their kids will be overwhelmed. I think you want to do the exact opposite. You want to get a longer park ticket and spend less time per day. So we would only spend 3 or 4 hours in the park in the morning, go back and take a nap, and then go back for an hour or two, which was perfect. It was exactly what she needed and what she loved doing. I think if we had tried to push her and stay in the park just one day, it would have made for a lot more meltdowns. So plan a longer trip. One of the biggest tips I have is, if it's not a stinky diaper, just change them right into their stroller. They're super comfortable there. There's less germs. You can keep them contained. Find a quiet spot. There's typically like just little alcoves you can pop into. I would not do it near a snack cart or a quick service restaurant, to be polite. I do remember being a lot younger and being in a restaurant and seeing a mom change a baby's diaper right on the table at a quick service location, and I was skeeved out by that for a very long time. But if you're in their stroller, you're not at a dining establishment, instead of looking for a bathroom or trying to find a companion bathroom and be like wiping down the table, or her hands go everywhere and it's so gross. So doing it in the stroller was just super easy for us. Wish we had figured that out earlier in our trip. You always want to expect the unexpected. There were some things that I thought she would like that she didn't, and that I didn't think she would like that she did. So she was terrified of the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, but loved the Haunted Mansion. So I don't understand that. We were gonna skip the Haunted Mansion with her, but last minute we decided we were just gonna go for it and have her ride the attraction with us, and she loved it. So another thing is to plan to repeat favorites. I think we went on It's a Small World at least half a dozen times. So when we talked about being flexible with your touring schedule, one of the ways you can be flexible is getting that 4th fast pass for something that they enjoyed earlier that day, or to once you go on that attraction once, plan your fast pass, change your fast passes for later in your trip. So definitely plan to repeat your favorites, expect the unexpected, and take a longer trip with less park time. Those are my tips for you, in addition to choosing your resort based on the stroller options, convenience, and room layout. You want to really think about the stroller you're going to bring. You want to do a little bit more in terms of buffets, and be very flexible with your touring. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions at all, please make sure you shoot me an email, Christina@showcasetheworld.com. If you would love to hear from you guys, please comment below and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. It really helps other families who need help find me. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that I inspired you to travel the world together.
Need help planning your next family vacation? Visit us at showcasetheworld.com to request a quote or schedule a free vacation consultation. Want more great travel tips? You'll find those there too.